If you look out there right now at content, branded content on social media, you will see most content, most brands are stuck at that cliche layer. I'll give you some examples. We're so excited to announce. We're so proud to share. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday. That's not a relationship. That is a press release dressed up in casual font on social. And your customers totally feel that. They scroll right past it. They are not commenting, they're not engaging, and they definitely aren't trusting your brand more because of those types of cliche posts. Hey, and welcome back to the Social Media CX podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Sellas, CEO of B Squared Media, author of Conversations That Connect, and apparently someone who wrote her undergraduate thesis on a 50-year-old relationship theory, and then accidentally built an entire marketing agency around that theory, which, if you know me, kind of tracks completely. Today is the first episode of what I'm calling our May series, and I have to tell you, this one is personal for me, like super personal. We're going to talk about the social penetration theory, what it is, where it comes from, why I wrote my thesis on it, and why I genuinely believe that it's the most important framework in social media today that no one else is talking about. We're also going to talk about B Squared Media's 14th birthday because we turned 14 this month, which is May 2026. And it's so wild because the social penetration theory, let's just call it the SPT, has quietly been the backbone of everything that we've built. So grab your coffee because we're going deep on how this runs our entire agency and maybe how it can help yours as well. All right, so let me set the scene. I'm in college. I'm totally fascinated by communication theory. And I come across this framework developed by two psychologists, Erwin Altman and Dalmas Taylor. And this is back in 1973. So this is way before social media. They call it the social penetration theory, and it's a terrible name. But the concept behind it is brilliant because here's what it actually says. The SPT looks at how relationships and trust are formed. And basically, Altman and Taylor say that relationships deepen through progressive self-disclosures. So we like to think of it as an onion. The theory is also called the onion theory, I'm guessing because no one wanted to say social penetration theory. So we'll just call it the onion theory or the SPT. But think of the theory like an actual onion. On the outside, or going around the onion, you've got that surface layer conversation. Small talk, pleasantries, cliches. The stuff that you would say to a stranger. So I'm in an elevator and I look at you and I'm like, the weather's nice, isn't it? Yes, it is, right? Small talk, cliche. Or maybe we're at the water cooler at work. Do people still do that? Am I aging myself? And I say, how about those Eagles? Go Birds! Or, insert your local sports team in there, right? As you build trust, as you build meaningful relationships with people, you actually go deeper inside the onion. So you're peeling back layers. And layer 2 is facts. Layer 3 is opinions. And then if the relationship is going well and deep enough, you get to level 4, which is feelings. These are your real, authentic, vulnerable feelings. And Altman and Taylor's insights were that the depth and the breadth of those disclosures determine how close a relationship becomes. I was obsessed with this theory. I wrote my entire undergraduate thesis on it. And what I did was I looked at how the theory worked on social media channels, specifically Facebook. I wanted to see if we still build relationships with brands the same way we do with humans, and instead of IRL, in real life, how we did these things on social media, specifically Facebook. I wrote my entire undergraduate thesis on this theory, and I really just couldn't stop thinking about how it applied to human communication, how we decide who to trust, who to buy from, how much we decide to share with someone or with a brand, how we decide whether or not a relationship is worth investing in. So, in 2012, I founded B Square Media, and from day one, even before I realized I was doing it, I was applying the SBT and the onion theory to everything that we did in our social media work at B Squared Media. I just didn't quite realize it. Now, here is the connection that changed everything for me. If you look out there right now at content, branded content on social media, you will see most content, most brands are stuck at layer one, that cliche layer. I'll give you some examples. We're so excited to announce. We're so proud to share. We're thrilled to welcome so-and-so to the team. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday. That's not a relationship. That is a press release dressed up in casual font on social, and your customers totally feel that. They scroll right past it. They are not commenting for the most part on these types of cliche posts. They're not engaging, and they definitely aren't trusting your brand more because of those types of cliche posts. Now, here's where it gets interesting for social care specifically, so social media customer service. Those same layers apply to how brands respond to potential customers or customers on social media when they have questions. So when a customer reaches out via a comment or a DM or a tagged post, most brands respond with layer one, right? The cliche, canned, generic, safe. It might look something like this. Thanks for reaching out, Brooke. We're sorry to hear you're experiencing this. Please DM us your account number. That's a cliche response. It's fine, but it does the same thing as the cliche post does. It signals to the customer that there's no real relationship here. It's just a transactional process. We're just checking a box to help you out. But when you respond with genuine specificity, when you acknowledge what they actually said or answer what they actually asked and do it with warmth and with brand voice, now we're starting to get into the other layers. We're moving to facts. We're moving to opinions. Maybe we're even moving to feelings. And that's when your customers start to feel like your brand has a real person on the other end. And when something goes wrong and you handle it with transparency, accountability, and actual empathy, that truly is layer 4. That's that feelings layer where trust is built. And that's where loyalty comes from. Trust is how you get to loyalty. And that, in a nutshell, is what B Squared Media has been doing for the past 14 years. Now, here's where it gets super interesting and timely, because it's not just relationship science that validates the SPT framework. It's also now the social media algorithms, because every social media platform right now, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, they are all weighting conversations and comments higher than other forms of engagement. So likes, impressions, right? They can view things, but if they're not actually leaving a comment and engaging, that's passive engagement. LinkedIn, by the way, just started showing you how many impressions your comments are getting on other people's posts. So not your post impressions, your comments. And sometimes I see this right in my own analytics. My comments, where I go and I post on someone else's content, get more reach than my actual published posts of content. Think about what that means. The platforms are literally now telling us through their algorithms that we are going to reward content that makes people respond. We are going to reward content that sparks a conversation or content that goes deeper than the surface. Around the onion, cliches. We need to go into those layers. Cliches don't do that. And facts, by the way, alone don't do that. Opinions do it. Feelings do it. Which is exactly why the SPT or the onion theory has been correct since 1973 and is still correct today, even on a different medium, which is social media. I've been screaming this from the mountaintops for the past 15 years. Think conversation, not campaign. That is literally our tagline. But now the algorithms are finally telling us, hey, yeah, it really is think conversation, not campaign. And let me tell you, vindication feels good. Not gonna lie. So here is what we were doing for the month of May, our birthday month at B Squared Media. Every episode of the Social Media CX show in May is going to map one layer of this social penetration theory, SPT or onion theory. So this week we talked about layer 1, cliches, and we said, hey, it doesn't work. Don't do that anymore. It's costing you. You're not building trust and loyalty. Next week, we're going to go into layer 2, which is facts. And I'm going to talk about why data and information are necessary, but not sufficient for meaningful engagement. In week 3, we're going to talk about layer 3, which is opinions. And this is where conversations really start to get going on social and where most brands go completely silent because opinions feel risky. We're going to talk about why they feel risky and how you can mitigate that risk. Week 4 and layer 4 is feelings, and this is the deepest layer, but it's also the hardest to get to. So I'm going to explain how B Squared Media has had 0 client churn across 8 years of social care using layer 4 specifically for those social media responses. Again, y'all, 8 years, 0 churn, and I'm saying it again because it makes me a little emotional. We've been doing this for so long, and I want everyone to do it with us. I want everybody to understand the power of this framework because we've woven all of this that we're talking about into our newsletter, into our Lost to Loyal articles that you see on LinkedIn. Everything that we're publishing this month, by the way, is going to be going into the social penetration theory, onion theory, or SPT. So if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, if you haven't gone and followed me on LinkedIn and joined our Lost to Loyal newsletter there, please do, because we're going deep on all the platforms and it's not going to be all the same content because, hi, we know that doesn't work. And ultimately, my goal is to answer the question that everybody is asking right now, or at least all the people that we're talking to about their social media strategy, which is how do I get people to actually engage with what I'm posting on social media? I'm going to answer that here on this podcast and on the newsletters. We also built a free course all around this content, the social penetration theory as well. It's called Talk-Worthy Content, and it lives at bsquared.media. You can go to resources, courses, and then go to Talk-Worthy Content. It's completely free. It's pretty good, if I do say so myself. And it really does map directly to what we're talking about this month. So go grab it. The link will be in the show notes, which is the transcript of this show wherever you're listening or watching. Before I let you go, I want to just sit here for a moment and say thank you. Because B Squared Media turning 14 is huge. It's just like I can still not wrapping my head around it, I don't think. But it's been 14 years of conversations, 14 years of showing up in the comments, the DMs, the tagged posts, the crisis moments, the campaign launches, the product questions, the complaints that turned into compliments. 14 years of peeling back layers with our clients and their customers. And I guess I'm emotional because when I got laid off from my job in nonprofit back in 2009, I had no idea that I was going to build something that would last 14 years. I had no idea I was going to find a way to take this communication theory that I wrote about in college and turn it into a methodology that would define an entire agency. But here we are. And I really believe that the reason we are still here and we're still growing and we've had 0 client churn in social care is because we've never stopped trying to go deeper, to get to that feelings layer with our clients, with their customers, with the work itself, with the team, with you, with everyone. That is the SPT way, and it's the B Squared way. All right, I'm getting too sentimental for a podcast, so let's wrap this up before I actually start to cry. Which, let's be honest, let's go ahead and save the tears for week 4 when feelings come along. Thank you so much for being here today. If this resonated, if you've been thinking about how to go deeper with your social content or your social care program, I want to hear from you. Find me on LinkedIn, drop me a comment, send me a DM. Let's have a real conversation because that's what this is all about. And if you loved this episode or you love this podcast, please take a minute and leave me a review. It will take you about 30 seconds or so, but it will mean the world to me. I'll see you next week for Layer 2 Facts. Until then, think conversation, not campaign.